Have you ever wondered how researchers they study society? Welcome to Everything Sociology 24 with Ode Agbaka Godwin, where we break down the fascinating world of social research to help student researchers and curious mind understand society's complexity. So whether you're new to the field or you're looking to expand your knowledge, this channel actually covers essential concepts in short, easy to understand videos. But first, remember to like, to share, to comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Personally, if I'm to define research, I would define research as the process of systematic inquiry by which we increase our knowledge of how things are, why they are, and also how they can be changed over time. So as a result of undergoing these rigorous processes, it refines itself from time to time, and that is one of the main aims of research. Research is very necessary so as to expand our knowledge because it is the systematic control, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions that actually shows the presumed relationship between natural and social phenomena. Now we can see how we are comparing natural and social phenomena and how research actually has its effect or how it affects them invariably. The main aim of research, as it is, because it has a plethora of aims and objectives. Now, it's for us to understand social issues. Society has different social issues that bewilders it, like corruption, inequality, racial discrimination, and etc. And also to identify changing patterns in the society or trends, and also to develop theories and inform policies and decision making. And social research cuts across different disciplines. We talk about social sciences, sociology, psychology, history, and etc. So it is way wide. It covers a wide array of disciplines. Researchers, most times, they decide to use the quantitative, qualitative, or even the mixed approaches to collect, collate, and even analyze data so as to ensure validity, reliability, objectivity, and generalizability. And they ensure that the data in which they are to present, so to say, or the result in which they are to present is accurate. Social research also has real-world application in terms of policy evaluation, program development, market research, assessment, and etc. It's quite sad that in the world in which we are in, the country in which we are in, we don't value the roles of researchers as compared to other climes, because virtually in all fields and disciplines, they respect the roles of researchers. And that is why we are to emphasize that some of these recommendations or suggestions in which researchers they give, especially once you're done with your project, you're meant to recommend. We have general and specific recommendations. Some of those recommendations are meant to be worked on by the government. You're suggesting, you're recommending, it's like a probable solution. And it's sad. In Nigeria, we don't value that. Poor funding. We don't have enough libraries. If you're to carry out your researches, you need to undergo some preliminary investigations. You need to read up on past work, past projects. So it takes a lot. Some of the phases of social research or the eras of social research includes traditionalism, behavioralism, and post-behavioralism. Now, traditionalism was simply based on armchair research. There was no empirical testing, and then it was guided simply by people's ideas. So it wasn't exposed to some scientific form of evaluation. So armchair research is often erroneous, it's inaccurate, and it wasn't logical or factual by nature. So some of the strong forces that led to social research includes, for instance, the French Revolution, anti-clericalism movement, anti-monarchical movement, industrial revolution, and etc. So the society changed from an agrarian to an industrialized capitalist one. So the struggle for societal stability all culminated in colonialism, World War, the reconstruction of the society, and the independence of former colonies, and the rise and fall of the USSR, the United Soviet Socialist Republic, and the development of the Marxist perspective or capitalist perspective. So some of this key historical background led to the development of social research. And some of the pioneers of social research include Karl Marx, Georg Simmel, Max Weber, Vilfredo Pareto, Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, Emile Durkheim, and so much more. So they actually formed an ideology around social reality and its concerns as a researcher. For instance, Emile Durkheim's role of sociological methods and suicide, also Protestant ethics and the spirit of capitalism by Max Weber. Some of those writings by social scientists or social researchers, they led to the development of social research. So after the armchair researchers, that is a prominent feature in the traditionalism stage, we move on swiftly to the behavioralism stage, which actually marks the introduction of scientific observation or scientific researches. And then to the last stage, which is the post-behavioralism stage, it was deeply entrenched in science, scientific observation. It's like an improvement of the behavioralism stage. Now, it was utilized so as to find solution to social problems, and then it encouraged the application of research. Social problems such as unemployment, inequality, as I've mentioned, racial tension, racial discrimination, divorce, single parenthood, mention them. So those are some of the key social problems in which researchers, they actually have to undergo to give or find a probable solution. Since social research is simply based on scientific methods, there are some key procedures it must undergo, right? So first, observation or identification of the problem. You need to identify what the problem is itself. Then after identification, some quarters, we talk about conceptualization, hypothesis formulation, which we're still going to discuss in another video. And then we talk about testing or verification of the hypothesis, and then theory formulation, and then generation of law. So those are some of the key steps you need to undergo if you're carrying out scientific investigation. Some of the main objectives of social research includes to describe, to identify, to classify, to categorize, to explore, and to investigate, which is important. So let's take, for instance, the issue of prostitution in the society. As a social researcher, you need to think outside of the box. What causes prostitution? Is it as a result of longing or wanting something? Is it as a result of financial constraints, economic causes, as a result of poor parental upbringing, right? Family background, and all those things. So you need to identify some of those causes, the variables, and etc. Because when you identify some of those causes, that is when you're able to prefer solutions to a particular social problem or social phenomenon. And then it's also meant to evaluate and understand social problems. So let's talk about, or take for instance, as an example, poverty in third world countries. What causes poverty in third world countries? That's something. So it will help you understand the dynamics around a particular social problem. The importance of social research are quite diverse. It's a wide array or kaleidoscope. So the first thing that came to my mind was it helps to make informed policy and decision making, in which I've mentioned. I'm not going to dwell on that in terms of governmental policies, right? And also it helps to improve our social condition. It identifies the social problem. After identifying the social problem itself, it helps to track the progress. And then it helps to evaluate interventions, things that are meant to be put in place. And that can be invariably connected to our first point in terms of decision making. And then it helps in the promotion of social justice, so as to stop, for instance, inequality, disparity in income, and etc. So it broadens our horizons, right? It makes us to understand some key social problems and also dispel some misconceptions about some social phenomenon, like this issue of female genital mutilation, right? Is connected to some traditional ideologies, right? And then when we carry out research on such a social phenomenon, we get to understand the background behind it, right? What makes people to act the way in which they do. Social research helps to create a public awareness about critical and social issues, right? It helps to create or give us a form of information about a social phenomenon and how to address it. And then it encourages critical thinking outside of the box, and reflection itself, and an examination of different assumptions. So when we learn to think outside of the box, that's when we know that we are carrying out a research. That's when we learn to value research itself. And then it contributes to positive social change, right? It drives progress while improving lives and communities in terms of quality of life that is expended to individuals. It also enhances the human well-being. It fosters inclusive and equitable society where it is free for all, where we get to understand the individual as a being, as a human, where we get to be humane. So that's all I have, guys, on method of social research. I hope I've been able to give a solid explanation on its introduction, historical background, its aim, objective, and characteristics. So catch you on my next video, and please don't forget to like, to share, and most importantly to subscribe to this channel, and please drop your comment down there and hit the notification button, which is very, very important. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.